What up? Today is the day. And by the day, I mean delivery day. That's right, we got the iPhone 17 Pro Max. We're going to go ahead and unbox it, get some early impressions, and we're going to find out if this phone is evolutionary or revolutionary. The iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm definitely hype about this one. Which I usually am hype about Apple releases, not gonna lie. There we go. Like we either get like a dope phone, which then I'll cross over. Man, that looks sick. Like I know it's controversial and people don't like the plateau or the two-tone colors, but that looks sick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm digging this one. Cables. Yeah, look at that. That's sick. I'm about it. There we go. But yeah, we either get like a sick phone or some crazy feature to which the rest of the industry is going to follow, and I'll get it on my favorite phone anyway. So it's a win-win. Okay, so first thing I noticed taking this phone out of the box is the gigantic camera bump on the back. Now, I get that it's already controversial and a lot of people would prefer the previous design, but this one does have 348 megapixel cameras on the back, and that's pretty sick. So if it works, I'm okay with it. Another thing you'll notice fairly quickly is the phone's kind of two-toned. And so we get three colors. So we got the silver one that you see that I have. And then there's that darker blue, which I think they're calling deep blue. And then there's the orange color that everybody's talking about. And this kind of just compiles that whole controversial look where people are thinking the phone's kind of ugly. Now, granted, the silver and white combo that I got, I actually think is pretty good looking to me. But I can see where people don't like the deep blue. And I can also see where they don't like the orange. And then there's also word now that the phone scratches like very easily. And I don't know if that's just a byproduct of it being aluminum and trying to paint it or what. But yeah, so exterior wise, we've got a fairly controversial device here. With that being said, supposedly the silver color is the one that hides the scratches the best. So I didn't know that when I bought it. I just thought that the silver white combo looked pretty fly. So that was good enough for me, but hey, I'll take it. All right, so I'm primarily an Android user. Like the Z Fold series has been the phone that I always end up going back to. I've had Pixels and Red Magics and Vivos, but the Z Fold series, like the software combined with the foldable phone, has just been it for me. I always go back to it, and it just checks the most boxes. Yeah, there's ones that charge faster, have better cameras, but that's the best combo for hardware and software for me. So on the Android side of things, setting up a phone for the first time is usually pretty easy, whether you do it through Wi-Fi or linking both phones through USB-C. Like it's pretty much like a set and forget process. And for Apple, usually it's the same way. However, for whatever reason, for me this time, it's been a nightmare. And by nightmare, I mean I didn't back up my 15 Pro Max to iCloud, which means when I'm setting up the new 17 Pro Max, I can't just download the data straight to the phone. So instead, that gives me one of two options. Option one, go ahead and do the backup now of the 15 Pro Max, or connect the 15 Pro Max to the 17 Pro Max via USB-C and let it go ahead and do the data transfer that way. The problem is I usually buy an iPhone with a terabyte of memory. And no, I did not buy the 2 terabyte version this time because 2 terabytes seems like too much, especially when you add a $500 price tag on top of it. Now, I know that one day we will have 2 terabyte versions of phones or 10 terabytes or whatever it's going to be, because you look at history, we had a 32 gigabyte version of an iPhone and a 64 gig and then the 128 gig. And now we're up to 2 terabytes. So I get it. Like as files increase in size and operating systems and whatnot, then your memory on your phone is going to go up. But we're not there yet. And I'm not spending $500 for an extra terabyte. So that's that. Sorry about the tangent. But back to my initial setup issues. So I plugged up both phones through USB-C, and initially it tells me it's going to take 6 hours to do this data transfer. And when you have a new phone and you've got like the new toy excitement, Just letting a phone sit for 6 hours just seems unreasonable to me. Like that is a ridiculous amount of time. Like, and we don't even know if it's going to be 6 hours. Like it initially says 6 hours, but it could be 10 hours. Like, or it could be two. Like you don't know. And just seeing a number like 6 hours pop up, I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. I chose to just back up the 15 Pro Max to iCloud while skipping the setup process on the 17 Pro Max so I could at least play with it a little bit and use some of the features. This took forever. And by forever, I mean I hit back up the phone and I literally left it there all night just to wake up in the morning and see that it still was at the same spot saying I needed 3 more hours until it was completed. I canceled it and tried it again and again and again. And finally, one magical time after that, it worked. Like it actually went through, the progress bar was moving the way it was supposed to, and it took about 3 hours. So I'm not really sure what I had that was on there that was hanging it up, but it took way too long. But I'm fine now. Not triggered or anything. Whew. Now that the new iPhone is finally set up to my liking, I'm going to go ahead and pull the SIM card out of the Z Fold 7. Well, I'm not. I'm going to convert the SIM card in the Z Fold 7 to an eSIM and then transfer it over to the iPhone so I can be an iPhone user primarily for the next week. Now, truth be told, I've already been using iOS 26 on the 15 Pro Max, so I'm really hoping that now that I've got everything set up on the 17 Pro Max, like this purchase is going to feel worth it to me. And I mean very early on, because typically with iPhones, at least from year over year, they just feel like it's such an incremental update that for me, I don't feel like I need to buy a new one every single year. So I'm hoping that now that it's got this new look and all these crazy new features, at least on the hardware side of things, it's going to validate this for me. The new iPhone 17 Pro Max is rocking a 5,088 milliamp hour battery, as long as you have the eSIM version. If you have a physical SIM, it's like 4,800 and some change, but still sick. Combine that with we now have 40-watt charging, and we can go from 0 to 50% in 20 minutes. Like, this is what I was talking about here. This is one of the things that got me actually excited to buy this phone, because I'm so sick and tired of taking an hour and a half to charge a phone, or an hour and 50 minutes. Like 0 to 50 in 20 minutes, sign me up. All right, so for the cameras, yeah, there's 48 megapixels all the way around. I guess the biggest feature that stood out to me was now we can zoom in like, I think it was like 40 times or something like that. It's a digital zoom. So I'm going to definitely be comparing that to like what the Z Fold 7 offers or what the new Pixel offers, which I think went up to 100 times, which anytime you're zooming that much, it doesn't look good. And there's processing behind it to try to clean it up. So I don't know. Another new feature that I was actually really excited about is called Center Stage. So with the front camera now, if you're taking a selfie or a group picture, you can go from portrait to landscape with just the press of a button. You don't need to rotate the phone. So it's pretty sick. I've also noticed that when you're holding it back and you're getting ready to take the picture, if it starts to detect more people in the frame, it'll automatically like zoom out for you to make sure that it gets everybody in. Like, this is game changing. And I wish that this was on every phone. And now that I've said that, I'm sure that it's going to be on almost every phone within the next couple of years. Like, this is one of those things where Apple does something that kind of blows everyone's mind. And then everybody's like trying to scramble and the copycat race is on. And that's one thing that I do miss about Apple, like the whole innovation thing. Like, yeah, we give them hell every year because, like, okay, they can record out of the front and back camera this year at the same time. And that's been around on Samsung since 2013. Like, they're so slow to adopt normal features, but every once in a while they'll come out with a feature that you didn't really think about, like putting magnets in the back of the phone to stick on accessories. And then all of a sudden it becomes a standard, at least for support. I mean, the Pixel has it now, which is pretty dope, but like, you get what I'm saying. Usually when they do, it's something mind-blowing and it changes the standard for mobile phones. That's just how they roll. Also for this year, we're getting the ability to shoot in ProRes RAW and Genlock. So kind of excited. For those of you who don't know, I usually use a 15 Pro Max to shoot the B-roll on this channel. So I'll give it a shot. We'll test it out and see. So there we have it. Those are my early impressions of the new 17 Pro Max. I am excited to be using this phone. It's been a minute since an iPhone has been my daily driver, so it'll be cool just to see how things have changed in the last year. But let me know your thoughts. Are there any features you're excited about, or any features you wish would have been added? Or with that being said, how do you feel about the looks? Well, as always, take care.